everyone. Welcome to the Preparing for Graduate School workshop here at the University of Dallas with the Office of Personal Career Development. I'm Christina Nguyen. I am the Senior Career Service Advisor, and then Shannon is our Director of Career Services. She'll be presenting, and so will Gabby O'Neill, our Associate Director. We're just here to talk about like some of the basics, and then what we're going to do next is we're going to do breakout sessions with some of our esteemed faculty. So we have Dr. Steinmiller for chemistry, Dr. Roper for English, and Dr. Landrum for psychology. So to begin, we are going to be talking about review steps to get started and get your materials organized. We're going to discuss writing personal statements, and then we're going to end with breakout sessions with our faculty members. So how do you get started? Really, it's to get organized, but step one is to really ask yourself these two questions. Why do you want to go to grad school? And then what are your career goals? Both of those questions will help guide the conversation and help guide you into what kind of degrees that you have to go into in order to achieve whatever your goals are. So depending on what you go into, you might have to get a professional master's, a research master's, or a PhD, depending on what you want to go into. So answering those first two questions will make sure that you're going into the right programs. And then with step two, it's really just to speak to your faculty advisor. And if your faculty advisor happens to be not in your field of interest that you want to go into after graduation, then talk to a faculty member that is. We know that we have lots of students who maybe, for example, are philosophy majors that want to go to law school. Then maybe you have to talk to Dr. Upham in order to talk about, what law schools are good, what programs and things like that. So really asking faculty members because they're the experts. They had to go through the same thing. They had to find graduate programs that really fit with their interests and their goals. So we really defer to them in order to make sure that you're making the right choices. So I'll hand it off to Shannon to talk about, researching graduate programs.
So just to give you guys also a little bit of background, one of the reasons we decided to have this workshop is that we've had a lot of questions from students who have said, I want to go to grad school, but I'm not really sure what to do next. So like Christina said, the first thing is to talk to a faculty member and be able to actually speak with someone who's been through that process and can help guide you on looking at programs and things like that. But once you've made the decision that you want to go to grad school, you've thought about what kind of careers that could lead to, then you need to start researching different programs and start getting your information together. And here's some basic questions that you'll need to ask yourself while you're looking for programs and really think about when you start your search. You're looking for the reputation of the institution and the program. Where is it in terms of its standing in, whether it's a research community or the community of knowledge for that particular area. The faculty's research interests and accessibility, the quality of the research facilities, especially if you're going into the sciences, or maybe the holdings if you're going into something associated with academic research, the career paths of the program's graduates, and take it from people in career services. This is a question we get asked a lot on all of our programs. What do graduates from this program usually go on to do? The availability of financial aid. This is certainly something that you'll need to be thinking about. Will you be teaching while you're in this program? Is there a stipend? Those kinds of things. The geographic location, this may be something that you want to consider a program that's close to your hometown, or you may want to venture out if there's housing available. The cost of living and availability of affordable housing, and then the social climate and support systems within the department. And really, these are all about fit. You don't want to be in a program that doesn't fit with your academic goals or with your personal goals for what you're looking for. And so it's really important that you think about where you fit into that program, and would it be a good fit, and would the intellectual voices around you match with what you're hoping to accomplish. And this is something I really want to mention here quickly, that the University of Dallas has a number of 4+1 programs, and these can really be advantageous for you because you can actually start taking classes towards your graduate degree as an undergraduate. Now, there's some details involved in this, and we recommend that you go to the University of Dallas website. You can just search 4+1, and you'll find information about the various programs, and in addition to the faculty advisor for each one of these programs. But as an undergrad, you can start taking classes towards a variety of business programs, and then as you can see, English, philosophy, teaching, psychology. We have a partnership with, I believe it's UTA on the material science and engineering, theology, and so there are a lot of programs that you can actually start taking classes as an undergrad toward these. So that's something to think about. And then we'd like to talk to you a little bit about trying to gather up this information and putting it in a way that is meaningful to you. And I'm going to share screen really quick with you. I'm sharing my screen here because I want to show you all a grad school tracking sheet that I would love to take credit for, but actually one of your esteemed fellow students created this and gave us permission to share it because we thought it was so amazing. This is a way for you to really look into various programs and be able to compare them apples to apples. So if you can see here that we've listed the university, you can have all of your application deadlines here to help you keep track of dates, whether or not there's a personal statement required, how many letters of recommendation, and you could even also add a column here to who you requested for letters of recommendation for this particular program, if you're varying, for each program who you're sending to. Transcripts, of course, this is GRE. If you're interested in taking the LSAT, or if you're interested in law school, maybe this will be LSAT or MCAT, whatever the appropriate test is for your degree, whether or not the subject area is required. And this right here is the range. If you can find this information, what is the range of the students they usually accept? And we'll talk a little bit about taking the tests next. But this is good to have so that you can have a score in mind. You can have a target score in mind. Is a writing sample required, and the length? And this also too is really important. What's the program GPA and your overall GPA that's required? Housing, stipend, ranking, notable faculty, and then connections. Let's say, for instance, that you're applying to the University of Virginia, and there are faculty members that have connections there. You could list those there so that you could, have a running record of faculty members you want to speak to about various programs. So this is something that it may seem like a lot of work to kind of get this going and get this started, but this will help you compare programs. If you have the stipend level here and you see no stipend, or a small stipend and then a large stipend, but then you also see that the program GPA ranges out of your realm, then you may move on to another choice in your program. So okay, so that's organizing your information. Now I want to move on to taking various exams. And actually too, we'll also share this with everybody in a follow-up email. We'll share this information with you so that everybody can have this sheet as a way that you can use yourself. What it'll be is you'll be able to view the sheet. You won't be able to edit it, but you can download a copy. And when you download a copy, then you'll be able to fill it in yourself. Okay, so the next thing I want to talk about are taking the various exams. For a lot of people, it's going to be the GRE. Like I said, it may be the LSAT or whatever, but we actually confirmed with the library that they have study guides in the reference section for the various tests. And then Ms. Hohertz also shared with me this resource called Learning Express that all UD students have access to, and you actually maintain access after you leave the university. And what you'll do with this, and again, we'll share the link, but you can get, so for example, GRE, You can get practice tests and tutorials here. So this is a GRE test prep tutorial. And as you can see, there were other, let's just search GRE again so you can see practice tests for analytical writing, practice tests for verbal reasoning. And so there are several different practice tools that you can use through this system. And she said that in order to save your work, you need to sign in and register. And she said it's your single sign-on criteria, or your single sign-on login, so which is your University of Dallas email address without the @udallas.edu, and then your password should be your student ID. It's the same thing you use for Handshake. And then, of course, a final option is to actually just buy the guide from Amazon. So, and we recommend the official guides because the company that actually makes the tests produces these guides. This is an example of the GRE guide. It's $21.99. You could probably order it from the bookstore too. I'm not sure what the price difference is, but just so you can see what some guides are. And if we go back to the grad school tracking sheet, you'll see that, you know, we put the range here, and kind of the pro tip that we've been hearing is that you should shoot for a range that's within the middle of this. Of course, in a best case scenario, you're going to overshoot that and you're going to, you know, ace 100% of the entire test. And that may take more time and energy than you have to spend. So in that case, if you can, you know, do your practice test again and again and shoot for a range that's within the, you know, the middle of this area, then that might be something that would let you know if you need to take it again, you know, that sort of thing. Okay, so Gabby's going to talk now about personal statements. And then after we do this, we'll answer any questions if any come up, and then we'll sort everybody into break rooms.
Great, so I'm just going to go over personal statements rather quickly. These are just some tips on how to structure your statement, how to make a really successful or impactful one. If you have a personal statement draft that you want reviewed, our office can review it for you. And we also recommend that you always share it with a faculty advisor who can give you some feedback, just because they're the experts in the field and will have really specific tips for you on your personal statement. So you may have heard the term personal background a lot, and it's basically an essay that you're writing to the graduate school to tell them about yourself. So the purpose is kind of fourfold. To show who you are, so that's the personal part of the personal statement, who you are, what you're about, and really what motivates you to attend graduate school and to attend that program. The second is to demonstrate a good fit. So not only why are you attending graduate school in a graduate program, why are you attending this particular program, or why are you wanting to, and whether it's consistent with your studies, your activities, etc. The third is to discuss your career goals. So how is this graduate program relevant to what you want to do and what you want to achieve, and what contributions you want to make to that program or just to the field in general. And then the fourth is to just provide more details. So when you're applying to grad school, you're submitting a resume or CV, you're submitting your transcript. The personal statement is your chance to go beyond what's listed on those documents, and just to avoid redundancy with those documents, go beyond what they're basically asking for and tell your own story. So a pre-drafting strategy is just to review the instructions. So some personal statements will just say, submit a personal statement. And others will actually provide you a prompt like, you know, why do you want to attend UNT graduate school or something like that. And they'll, you know, give you some prompts like, what did you achieve in your college career? Why do you think you'd be successful in this particular program? And they'll kind of give you some prying questions. So if they actually articulate some of those criteria, you want to make sure that your personal statement is addressing those specifically, and it's giving more detail than you can provide on a resume or through a transcript or even a writing sample that you provide to the graduate school. So then once you're ready to actually start putting pen to paper, keep in mind that you don't want to just tell the selection committee who you are. You want to also show them. So, this says narrate scenarios that illustrate your character. So are there some stories that you can tell, or there are specific examples you can provide that really demonstrate who you are as a person? If you're saying you're really diligent and you're good at research, you need to be able to provide specific examples that demonstrate that. And you can also be dramatic, creative. You can write in your own voice. Of course, don't go completely crazy. This isn't, like Hunter S. Thompson or anything like that, but, you can write as you normally speak in real life. A lot of readers can tell if you're trying to be fluffy or if you're trying to use passive voice too much. Just kind of be yourself. Devote most of your statement to portraying who you are now. So, a lot of students will write, I've loved, studying animals since I was, in middle school. If you're applying to a program that's relevant to the study of animals, that's great. But graduate programs will want to know what you've been doing in your college career to sort of advance your experience in that area. So graduate schools want to know who you are right now. So just as a rule of thumb, make sure that you're not dedicating your whole personal statement to what's happened before college. And another rule, think outside the box. So a lot of students come to me saying, what's a personal statement, or can you give me examples, or what is a personal statement supposed to look like? Don't get bogged down too much on what you think the ideal statement would look like. It's specific to everyone. And so, you can really express yourself, you can be creative, and just think about a way that you can make it really specific to you as an individual. So editing. So there are a couple of filters that you can sort of apply yourself to yourself and to your statements. So first impressions are really important. So if you think about, the second you opened a book for, let's say, lit trad, you open up Moby Dick and it says, call me Ishmael. That's like a really good hook. You're like, what the heck does that mean? I'm going to keep reading. So does your personal statement follow the same rule? Is it capturing someone's attention? And you kind of got to be pretty immediate, like your opening sentences or so should be really dramatic, or not dramatic, impactful. Personality filter. So when you're reading through your draft, what do you think your personal statement is saying about yourself? So one of the ways that you can determine this is to underline words or phrases throughout your personal statement and write a personal trait off to the side, and just determine, is this statement really conveying what I want someone to see? Is this really demonstrating who I am as a person? And then also think about traits that you've maybe forgotten to mention, or that you've forgotten to substantiate with evidence, with a story, or with an example. And then, of course, you don't want to drive a point too hard that you're diligent, or you're hardworking, or you're good at research. You want to be a little bit more well-rounded and make sure that you're not just driving a point into the ground too often with a single trait. I kind of mentioned this already, but redundancy. So make sure that anything you include in a personal statement isn't already mentioned in a resume or in a writing sample at length already. The personal statement is your chance to expand upon something that you haven't really been able to communicate to the committee. So just think about that as well. Kind of like the first impression, what are the takeaways? So you want to make sure that your readers remember you and you have given them a reason to remember you. So when a committee refers to you as the candidate who did blank or who blank, what do you want that blank to be? And what do you think, do you think that your personal statement actually communicated that? So one of the ways that you can do that is, show your personal statement to a friend, show it to one of us, show it to your faculty advisor, and just say, this is what I wanted to communicate to the reader. Does that come across? And then some general stylistic stuff. A lot of first drafts use a lot of passive voice, but this is a personal statement and you're talking about yourself. So just try to keep passive voice to a minimum. Definitely don't overuse any words or phrases. And then if you feel like, you know, stylistically, you know, your statement is kind of blah, you know, you can always change verbs, adjectives, just to make it stand out a little more. And then some final don'ts. So just make sure that when you're writing your statement, you're talking about yourself. So don't be writing about other people. Don't compare and contrast yourself with others. Try not to begin all of your sentences with I. So a personal statement, it's hard not to say I did this, I did that, I want to do this. You know, just mix it up a little bit. And then also just proofread, proofread, proofread. Don't let a typo jeopardize someone's impression of you. Definitely, you know, use Grammarly, use Microsoft Spell Check and all of those software programs just to make sure you're not missing anything. And definitely have a second set of eyes at least review your statement for you. So I provided some contact information for all of our UD faculty advisors.
If you have any questions, just make sure to contact the faculty members that are here or email us at udallas.edu. Thank you for watching our video and be sure to check out our additional videos on our YouTube channel.